Yeah, so I want to talk about adapting for success in a post-COVID world. I think the changes from this are going to be long-term, and I think it's going to help put educators into a more innovative mindset. When I say educators, I mean more the administrative side of um, of kind of like IT and departments. I think those guys have traditionally been very like, if it's not broken, don't fix it or don't change it sort of mentality. And I feel like that's one of the reasons it's really hard for innovation to happen in education. The barriers to entry are pretty high from an entrepreneur's perspective, which is where I'm coming from. Um, so I'm Soham. I founded a company called Ambi. We founded it in August of 2016. Um, and basically, I was in college. This is my co-founder, Saad. He's the CEO. I'm the COO. And we were both non-technical. I mean, I'm a little bit technical, but at the end of the day, we were kind of like the average Joes, where we were using Uber, we were using Netflix, we were using all these modern apps that were Snapchat, Instagram, um, and but our school had Blackboard and this disgusting clunky portal, and actually all of our work happened on Facebook, and yeah, we just didn't know any of the clubs on campus or any of the opportunities. We have to try so hard to seek them out. And luckily for us, we were persistent students. So we ended up finding our way around things. But we saw our friends who were equally as interested and passionate as us. They wanted to succeed in college, but oftentimes they would hit barriers. And we identified these barriers across a number of areas. So, we decided and we dared to be student-centric in education. We did a lot of research. We partnered up with a professor. I went to Babson College, a professor at Babson who is actually today our lead investor in the company. We've raised $8 million till date. We're actually raising a round right now, just because things are going pretty well. And so we have a pretty significant platform. But anyways, we dared to be student-centric. And we were like, okay, we'll see how it goes. We know that it's really hard to sell into education. We spoke to people from companies like Canvas and Structure, and they purposefully told us that when deciding between the student and faculty, they would leave out the student and they would design for the faculty because those were their buyers. And this is what I mean when I say education has high barriers to entry and it's very hard to innovate inside of it. Because as we were even selling our product, we would come across, I mean, it's natural, feature requests from educators, but the trend that, anyways, a lot of those feature requests were not student-centric. It was things that schools needed, that CIOs needed, that IT department needed, and none of them would benefit the student at the end of the day. And that was sad to see. But in any case, we kept building our product. We worked with Columbia University. We did a pilot with them for over a year, and they really helped us get kind of the educator's perspective. Saad, my co-founder, he actually designed our platform. He's a brilliant designer and a systems designer, and he has great vision. So he designed the platform, and then we partnered with one of the world's best design firms. I don't know if you guys know the story about Slack, but I mean, the story that everyone knows is that it started as part of an internal communication tool for Stuart's team, which is true. But before they launched the bubbly, lovely Slack that that we all love today, or that many of us love today, it didn't have the branding, it didn't have the designs, it wasn't as sexy as it is today. And they went to this company called MetaLab, who are amongst the world's best designers. They've designed some of the world's best products and apps. You've probably used a ton of their apps. They've designed Uber Eats, they've designed Coinbase, Facebook Messenger, just a bunch of stuff. And we had a dream of having them partner with us to change education because they hadn't worked in education yet. Luckily, it worked out with them, and they helped design our platform, and we kind of got together all these pieces to build something great. This February, we saw that COVID was ramping up, starting to be present in the news. We started seeing some cases. we saw what this was, what was happening in China with this, and our team just said, listen, I know this is going to have a huge impact on universities. It's going to be really tough. And, if we stick with the traditional edtech model of selling, B2B, and I'm sure most of you are familiar, but you sell to departments or faculty or IT, and it's a significant sales cycle. It takes usually 6 to 18 months, depending on your product, and that's quite a long time before you can get it in the hands of students, and then there's a lot of implementation costs as well. And in K-12, you guys probably know this. You buy a product, you're pitched a product, it looks shiny, and by the time you implement it, it's not really the same, and that's just because of the amount of steps necessary. So our team started brainstorming, what can we do? And we basically spent 3 months sort of, I don't want to say pivoted our business model, but changed it a little bit, opened up our platform in a way that made it easy to sign up, in a way that takes minutes to sign up, and we launched what's called a learner social network. It's a network for education. You have to have a verified email to sign into it or to get invited into it. There's lots of different space types. Spaces where you can conduct either hybrid or online learning activities or group projects, or just connect around an interest or learn something. Spaces are really cool. And there's a bunch of different types of spaces. Schools can create this space called communities. And we're the only ones who can actually create that. And then we hand it over to schools. Communities come with a bunch of awesome admin tools, a bunch of awesome onboarding tools to invite students in. They come with resources, a map. They're going to have analytics soon. It's a place to foster discussion. And one of our I don't want to say theories, but one of our hopes for the industry as a team, as an executive team at Ambi, is we want to see education become more niche down. We feel like students learn best when they're in a community of like-minded people, and you sign on and you're like, okay, these are my people. Like, everyone here is studying like computer science. Like, this is my tribe. Like, you want to feel like that as a student whenever you're involved in something. And anyways, that's kind of what this promotes partially. We have over 100 universities that are currently on the wait list. We're selecting the universities that need this most at the moment and rolling out 50 schools a month, basically. This is the product. It's all centered around driving 21st century digital community engagement. We've been building this for 3 years, and it's now more prevalent than ever. So it's a pretty huge platform. It's layers deep. It's a lot more effective for education than any chat-based app or any tool that's made for the workforce. This is built around higher ed and K through 12. And it's a beautiful product, and it's very sticky with students. Some of the schools that we work with and departments at Columbia, they're saying it's the first time they've seen students disengaged on a learning activity. And it's actually increased engagement with the LMS as a byproduct, because students have a place to land and to hang out. And this is just so important today. My ask is, if you're an educator, head to our website, ambi.network, hit get early access. You're going to get this pop-up. One of our team members will reach out, and we'd love to give you a tour. It's free to use initially. If your school wants to buy it or department wants to buy it, we have a certain deal. But if you mention that you learned about it on the Venture Cafe talk, we'll give it to you free for some time. So just throw that in if you're interested, or let anyone you share it with know that you learned about this on Venture Cafe. That's my ask. Let's share it with educators. Moving on. Ideas, frameworks, action items. Firstly, I want to say that it's really tough out there. As educators, you're going out there. We know it's really tough, and we're sympathetic. We get you, and we're here to help in any way that we can. Reach out. We have a huge team, people who have worked in the industry for 20 years, and we're all here to help, and we really feel for you. Um, um, Here's a study that was launched by McKinsey in this is a study that they did in about April, I think, of this year. And here are two of the non-technical recommendations they had: supporting faculty and moving the quad online too. And I feel like schools aren't doing this well. They're not adapting. Why? Because today faculty and admins are more stressed than ever before. And this past fall, students felt very lonely, and that's not good. Let's look at how other sectors operate. FANG is a slang for the top 5 tech companies: Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. This is a picture of Jack Dorsey, the CEO and founder of Twitter and Square. In about May or June, most of them announced their work from home policies and their operational procedures for the next year and a half. Facebook's permanent if you have the option. Google, July 2021. Twitter and Square permanent. Uber, you have it there. So why are these companies able to adapt so quickly? Why are some sectors able to move so quickly, and why not education? We believe it's because they're using better systems. We feel like software and tools in 2020 are the bedrock for how a company or how an institution or organization operates. And we feel like higher ed using better systems will boost outcomes and reduce stress for everyone involved. Professors and admins should not have to bear all the stress. And social learning and crowdsourcing should be utilized. One funny thing that we see is when you leave students on their own in a group, they'll solve their own problems. Someone has the answer, whether it's in a course-based context or whether it's a community-based question about how do I do something. Students can solve their own problems. You just have to enable them. So enable more of that. Take advantage of that. My ending recommendations: be agile. I think this is one thing that startups, some medium businesses, big tech companies have. They're extremely agile. It gives them a crazy competitive edge. I think educators should do that as well. Overall, keep it simple. There's no need to do anything special or over the top with your course design or your program design. Keep everything familiar. You probably have been teaching the same course for a while now. If you're a professor, as you move to the digital world, try to keep the experience as familiar to what you've already been doing. Just take your current syllabus and kind of use it as a script for building the course. You can definitely do it. And experiment. Keep things flexible. Uncertainty right now is hitting both students and professors at record levels. Everybody is stressed. Flexibility will allow students to respond to the unpredictable year, and it'll allow you to be agile, as things change. So yeah, just throw away whatever doesn't stick, but don't not try. And yeah, just a quote to end with. And yeah, professors are the most important. The tech just enables us to do better.
Right. That was amazing. Avi asked about the comparison to other platforms, and then he kind of stepped back and said, hey, wait, this looks better than. So is that kind of what you guys are thinking? Like, you've seen these other platforms, you've used them. Obviously, you mentioned Blackboard. This is just like the next best iteration. Is that kind of your?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've worked with, we saw consumerization happening in the world. Every tool, even if it was a SaaS product, was becoming more consumer centric and consumer friendly. That concept just hasn't happened in education. And I believe we're the first ones to do it this well.
Yeah. And I love that you designed it already. It's mobile friendly. It's going to be on your Apple Watch. It's, you looked at all the technology that exists,
right,
which I feel like education doesn't do. I mean, they don't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But together we can change that. So we're thrilled to be a part of it.